Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Lloydminster voters went to the polls yesterday to choose a new councillor for a vacant city council spot. David Lopez won the seat, receiving 45% of the votes. Fred Surrett was second with 22.5%, and Darrell Dunn was third, receiving 11.5% of the vote. Lopez is filling the spot of Aaron Buckingham, who accepted the role of fire chief last year. There were over 1,600 votes cast, which represents only about 8% of eligible voters in the city. The Cutter Rally for Cancer Committee surprised a long-serving volunteer for his work and dedication to the event. The committee announced the winner of the early bird raffle for the event today. They also took the time to surprise Ron McDonald by dedicating the trail under his name for his work on the committee. The rally is a staple event in Lloydminster using a horse-drawn sled known as a cutter.
Working on this surprise since we started our planning for this coming year. And of course, Ron still comes to our meetings, so it was very hard to keep that surprise a surprise, which we managed to pull off. So we are very honored to have dedicated the trail and for all the hard work Ron has done to today and for what he's going to contribute for the future.
McDonald has been with the committee for 20 years, and he's described as passionate and dedicated.
Giving heart and a big spirit for community activity, and this is one that hooked his heart and he's stuck with us.
The Cutter Rally event will take place next Saturday, February 24th. The amount of time, effort, and resources involved with starting a business is quite daunting to people interested in creating a local business. In this week's Beyond the Classroom, we see how middle school students in Home Ec get the opportunity to start their very own business in a safe environment.
Students at E.S. Laird Middle School are well on their way with their own businesses, where they are able to sell a multitude of different items to their fellow classmates. These range from popcorn to fully handmade jewelry and clothing.
Here we have the Sabre Shop, which is a locally developed grade 9 option here. It's a unique opportunity to kind of learn about what it takes to start a small business. So students have about 16 classes to plan, create, market, sell their products, and then from that they get to use, from the profits, they can then create their own passion projects, whatever they want to make using the Home Ec Lab equipment.
On top of school merchandise being made, some students have taken it to a further level, firmly establishing their business in Lloydminster. They say starting a business is no easy feat, but they are eager to learn and improve.
The earrings cost a certain amount, and then you have to make them. So it's like budgeting to how much we get and how much we can give to our company.
I would definitely say budgeting and the amount that we sell our things for, if it's not too high and if we make money off of it or if we're losing it or not.
And that's all for this week's edition of Beyond the Classroom.
At Lakeland College, our students go beyond the classroom for immersive, hands-on learning experiences. It's about experiencing the real world.
Neki Jamal, the owner and dentist at Wayside Dental here in Lloydminster, has just come back from his annual trip to Guatemala, where he gives dental care to people in need, free of charge. Our Callum Hawker with more.
Neki Jamal has been going to Guatemala every year since 2010, helping out the citizens of Guatemala and giving back in the best way he knows how.
Man, every year I come back and it gets, COVID was really hard because we couldn't go there. And, we've been going down to Central America since 2010. And we'll do 1 or 2 clinics every year. And I can tell you, honestly, the lineups only get longer. And you're just always trying to put fires out, man. You're trying to get people out of pain. It's just, we just want to get people, back to health again.
Jamal brings a team with him and all of his own equipment, and each year brings some new members. Some of them being other dentists at Wayside and even just other people in the community. Jamal said that growing up, he didn't come from much, and his dad was a big reason why he started these trips.
And I graduated, I never had the opportunity to travel. And I'm like, man, I got to go somewhere. And I've been so blessed to go to school. I didn't grow up with much. And, my dad always told me, give back when you can. And I thought there'd be no cooler way than doing it on the mountainsides, on the hilltops in Guatemala. And it started in 2010. And honestly, it's like, once you go once, you're hooked.
Dr. Jamal said that none of these trips could have happened without the support of everyone at Wayside Dental and the people he got to meet both in Guatemala and inside the community. Callum Hawker, Primetime Local News.
Callum Hawker joins me now with the weather. And Callum, it looks like we might have some chillier nights on the way.
Yes, and we've seen some snow come in last night as well. That actually went throughout most of the day, all morning, and then a little bit into the afternoon. But yeah, yesterday was sitting around -5. Current conditions in the border city, is at -10 with a little bit of wind chill. We are seeing some winds coming in. Some northeast winds coming in, of 22 kilometers an hour, which is boosting the wind chill, so we're sitting at -18 currently in Lloydminster. So a little colder than yesterday. The snow has stopped, but we did accumulate, a couple centimeters today at least. And then looking across the region here, Cold Lake -11, Marwayne down at -10, St. Paul also at -10, Bonnyville at -8, Lac La Biche at -9. And then down in Vermilion, Vegreville, Wainwright, and Provost are all sitting at -9, with Edmonton at -8. Looking over at the Saskatchewan side, Pierceland's at -10, St. Walburg at -11, Green Lake at -13, same with Meadow Lake, and Isle La Crosse up at -15 as we move down. Maidstone is at -11, with Macklin at -7, and North Battleford at -11 as well. Looking at tonight's forecast in North Battleford, the temperatures will be dropping. -24 will be the low. It will become a little clear, but yeah, definitely a lot colder tonight in North Battleford with that low temperature sitting at pretty cold. Looking at tomorrow's forecast, it will warm up a bit with some sunshine, which will be nice. The high is sitting at -14, so still some colder temperatures, but at least you get some sunshine out tomorrow in North Battleford. And then tonight's forecast in Cold Lake, very similar as well, a low of -23 with some clouds coming in. And, like I said, with the last couple days being a little warmer, tonight expect it to be much colder in Cold Lake with only 9-kilometer winds. So, not as windy as it is here in Lloydminster. And then Cold Lake tomorrow, high of -9, partly to mostly sunny and cold with some winds coming at 9 kilometers an hour as well. And then tonight in Lloydminster, pretty cold as well, -19 will be the low, and the winds will die down a bit at only 9 kilometers an hour. Then we look at tomorrow's forecast throughout the day, 6 a.m. wake-up time, -17 with some clouds coming in, heading into lunchtime at noon, -13, staying pretty similar at 6 p.m. at -14, and then at midnight will be -16. Looking at the next 3 days here in the border city, a lot of sunshine, which is nice. Thursday, a high of -11, low of -16. Coming into Friday, a high of -4 and a low of -9. And then on Saturday, starting your weekend, plenty of sunshine, a high of -3 and a low of -15. That's all for your first look at the weather. We'll have more news with Leanne after the break.
Lloydminster RCMP want to hear from the people it serves about what its priorities should be. I spoke with the RCMP's Melanie Flynn about a town hall meeting happening tomorrow night. I am speaking with Constable Melanie Flynn with the RCMP in Lloydminster today, and we are talking about an upcoming town hall meeting that they have invited the public to. Can you tell me more about it, Constable Flynn?
Yeah, hi, thanks for having me, Leanne. Yeah, we have our upcoming town hall meeting, which is going to be happening Thursday, February 15th at 6 p.m. We're gonna be in the OTS room upstairs. So that's a room that's upstairs in the Service Sports Center here in Lloydminster. So you can come find us there. There'll be RCMP, your local Lloydminster RCMP officers present just to hear input from the citizens of Lloydminster. We do these town hall meetings usually twice a year, like biannually, to get some feedback and input from the residents. And yeah, we're looking forward to seeing everyone come down.
The RCMP has held these town hall meetings before. Can you tell me what some of the priorities have been at prior meetings?
Last year, our priorities, what we heard from residents, was traffic was a concern. Motorists speeding through residential areas. And we've done some priority planning around that with our members here at the Lloydminster detachment to do some more traffic enforcement. So that was what we saw in 2023. And so we're still hearing kind of the same feedback for 2024 is traffic seems to be a concern of a lot of residences. So fast moving traffic and school zone enforcement and stuff like that. So we're hearing a lot of that from the city so far, but we definitely want to hear more opinions and more feedback.
Other than traffic issues, what other concerns have people voiced to these town hall meetings?
So, and last year, our priorities, we did focus, like for 2023, focused on crime reduction. And we do have a crime reduction unit here in Lloydminster that was pretty active in 2023. So we're hoping to kind of see that continue in 2024. I think crime reduction is a lot of people have questions about what crime reduction teams do and what the unit is all about. So it would be a great spot to come and if you have those questions or want to get more information about units like that, to come down Thursday and talk with us, and we can provide insight and hear feedback from residents on what they think the priorities should be as well.
So outside of these town hall meetings, how does the RCMP go about setting its priorities?
We do consult throughout the year with lots of different stakeholders, including like city council and the mayor, and hear that way too. But it's nice to hear firsthand opinions from citizens. So we do encourage people, if they want to have their voice heard and they want to provide us with some feedback, to come down Thursday, 6 p.m. at the OTS room.
Well, thank you for joining me today, Constable Flynn. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks.
Now, here are your stock market prices for today.
Today's oil prices are brought to you by First General Services.
AgriVision's 2024 is now officially underway and is the best place to learn the latest and greatest things about the agriculture industry. It takes a lot of work and planning to get the Lloydminster exhibition ready for the event, but the organizers say it is well worth the effort.
It's nice to see everyone come together and come support this event. This is my first time planning it, so as I was taking all the pictures and stuff last night to see everything so full, it was definitely exciting for me to get it all together and see it come together.
On top of the full trade show featuring booths for all sorts of different agriculture businesses, AgriVisions also boasts a full lineup of speakers and presentations about many different aspects of farming.
There's such a wide variety between grain as well as cattle, and there's also some mental health, which is definitely important this time. There is some drought, which unfortunately I think might be an issue. So there's a couple where it's drought with cattle as well as drought with grain. So yeah, a little bit of everything.
On Thursday, there will be a farm gate breakfast starting at 8:30. The trade show opens at 10 and will close at 4. For more info, head to the LloydX website. Now here are your agriculture prices for today. Some of the best high school curlers played in the Zones competition today in hopes for qualifying for provincials. The Lloydminster Curling Club was the host of high school zones. Over 21 teams in men's, mixed, and women's categories competed for a spot in provincials. Youth curling has been trending upwards in recent years, and organizer Nicole Say is grateful to see the rise of curling in the province.
At least 10 years, maybe even 20. We saw kind of a dip in attendance and a resurgence in the past number of years, so it's nice to see it back to what it was years and years ago, getting kids more interested in curling.
Many of these high school curlers were able to learn from competitors at the recent Aztec Challenge, and they now understand what it's like to curl at the next level.
A lot of these kids wouldn't necessarily know that they could take their game to that kind of level until they see those curlers. And a lot of the kids out on the ice here today, especially the local kids, had an opportunity to work with some of the players that were at the Aztec Curling Challenge, and they got to fine-tune some of their skills, learn some cool tricks for sweeping and some interesting strategy ideas too. So it's huge for them to increase their understanding of the sport.
The 2024 Curling Provincials are February 22nd to the 24th in Drayton Valley. And Callum Hawker is back in to take a second look at our weather.
Yeah, thanks so much, Leanne. A drop off of 1 degree since I spoke to you guys last, but still, you know, some wind still in the border city. Not as windy as I spoke to you guys last, 15 kilometers an hour compared to the 22 we saw earlier. But the wind chill is still at -18 and some clouds have come in. The sun is about to set, but some more clouds coming in throughout the night. And then we look at the current temperatures in Alberta. Cold Lake -11 over at Athabasca and Edmonton sitting at -8. And then Whitecourt, Rocky Mount House, and Edson all at -7, while Jasper is at -3 and Red Deer at -9. Looking over at the Saskatchewan side here, Meadow Lake at -15, Prince Albert at -14, Melfort at -15, Saskatoon at -12, and then North Battleford, is at -11. Uranium City at -21, Fort Chipewyan at -18, Fort McMurray at -10. Then moving a little bit more west here, Slave Lake at -8, Peace River and High Level at -9, and then Grand Prairie at -5. Looking over the other side here, Stony Rapids at -22, Walston Lake at -20, South End at -19, Laloche and Buffalo Narrows is at -14, and Flin Flon at -16. Coronation at -10, Medicine Hat is at -7 currently, Lethbridge current temperatures of -10, Calgary at -7, and then Banff is at -6. Swift Current is at -7, same with Moose Jaw, and then Regina is sitting at -9 currently, with Yorkton at -12, and then Estevan is having temperatures of -8 currently. Tonight's forecast in North Battleford, it will be a cold one tonight, -24, becoming clear, and you know, like I said, colder throughout the night, but the winds will die down a bit, only at 11 kilometers an hour. Looking at tonight in Cold Lake, not much has changed since I spoke to you guys last. -23 will be the low. Clouds coming in, and like I said, yeah, much colder with only 9-kilometer winds as well. As we look at the travel forecast here across the region, Meadow Lake, high of -11, partly sunny and cold. Tomorrow, Bonnyville is at high of -9. We do see some sun coming in throughout the day, which is nice. Provost, not as sunny with some clouds, low clouds actually, a high of -9. Isle La Crosse is sunny with a high of -12. Paradise Hill with a high of -13 and some sun coming in throughout the day. Looking over at Murnum, a high of -9 as well, partly sunny and cold there tomorrow. Pearceland, a high of -8 with some clouds coming in throughout the day. Unity, a high of -12. Areas of low and clouds coming in throughout the day. Wainwright, a high of -10 with some clouds coming in, and then Calgary, a high of -8 with some clouds there as well. And then tonight's forecast in Lloydminster, high of -19 with not as much winds as we're currently seeing, but the temperatures will drop with a low of -19. And as we look across the next 7 days here, Thursday, Some sun coming out, -11 is the high, -16 the low. Friday, a high of -4 and a low of -9. Saturday, high of -3 and a low of -15. All sunny days throughout there. Sunday, a high of -5 and a low of -11. And then as we start our week on Monday, cloudy with a high of -4, a low of -11. Warming up on Tuesday, a high of -1, a low of -6. And then 0 on Wednesday with some sun and a low of -10. That is your second look at our weather report. We'll have some more news with Leanne after the break.
It's time again for another episode of Healthy Thriving Family After Divorce. Stephanie Dobson is with us. Stephanie, of course, a lawyer, mediator, and online educator with Hankin Divorce Law and Mediation, offices in Lloydminster and Edmonton. Stephanie, thanks for joining us once again.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Stacey.
Well, this week we're going to talk a little bit more generally about divorce and separation. And I want to talk about when people are going through this process and just kind of getting started and going through it. What are some of the topics that people are going to need to resolve when they are in the stage where they've just started to split up, basically?
Yeah, well, Stacey, usually in our episodes, we go into such specific topics that I thought that for today, it would be nice just to go into a bit of more of a 30,000-foot level overview of what topics need to be covered. So lots of times when I first meet with families who are separating, they're not really sure what the topics are that they need to resolve. So I thought we could just give them a summary here. So this is, of course, very brief, but we'll go through them. The first is developing a parenting plan. The second is child support. The third is spousal support. And the fourth is division of property, division of your assets and debts.
Okay, and let's take a deeper dive into that parenting plan, Stephanie. I know we've chatted quite a bit about that before, and it seems like it's a very good thing to have just to keep everybody sane, basically. So tell me a little bit more about the plan.
Yeah, so a parenting plan is a document that sets out how you and the other parent will parent your children. It's a bit of a rule book if you are playing the game of life. The level of detail that a parenting plan requires will vary, but it varies based on often your level of conflict between the two of you. So more conflict equals a more detailed parenting plan. So it contains many topics, but some of the main ones are parenting scheduling, decision making, responsibilities, and a communication plan.
Okay, and next is child support. So let's dig a little deeper into that as well.
So, of course, we've had an entire two-part series on this topic. So, of course, our viewers can go click back to those episodes. But today we're just going to be very, very basic about this. So, child support needs to be paid when parents are separated. And that support is divided into two basic categories. There's the base support and the extras. So, to calculate base support, we use the formulas contained in the child support guidelines based on four things: paying parents' income, the number of children, the province of residence of the paying parent, and the parenting schedule. Now, those extras are called Section 7 expenses. They're Section 7 of the child support guidelines, and there's certain defined categories: childcare expenses, medical and dental expenses, health insurance premiums, certain education expenses, and extracurricular activities. That's a bit of the 30-second version of child support.
Okay, and then moving on to the other type of support, spousal support, Stephanie. Let's go a little bit further into that.
Yeah, this one's a lot more complex, but in essence, it's an amount that's paid from one spouse to the other to help them financially post-separation. So there's two questions to ask when looking at spousal support. The first one is eligibility. Some people call it entitlement. Fire comes out of people's ears when we use that word. So we use eligibility based on the legal principles and the family situation. And then the second question is, if the answer to eligibility is yes, then we ask how much for how long. And there are spousal support advisory guidelines, kind of formulaic approaches to how we figure out what spousal support is.
Okay, and last but not least, the division of assets and debts. If you could just expand on that, Stephanie.
So again, just a really complex topic in a 30-second overview. So we use the principle called community property. So I think of it like a big pot that you put on a stove. So you put everything that's in the one spouse's name, everything that's in the other spouse's name, everything that's in the kid's name or in joint names, put it all in the pot and divide that pot by two. Now, of course, we require some transparent exchange of information in order to figure out what goes into that pot, and we create a net worth spreadsheet out of all of that information. So we list all of the assets, debts, and then there might be some exemptions, some things that come out of the pot that don't actually get divided. We apply a value to those items. We figure out who's going to keep what, and then we look at the totals at the bottom and figure out if it's equal or unequal and how do we balance those scales a little bit better. So of course, very complex, but there's the real quick overview.
Well, thank you for breaking all that down for us, Stephanie. I really appreciate you speaking with us every week. And just one more time, if people are looking to get in touch with you, even just to set up a consultation and learn a little bit more about this, where is the best place to reach you?
Yeah, I certainly recommend people look at our website first, Henka Divorce, HENKA divorce.ca, to learn a little bit more about what we do. And then you can give our office a call, 780-875-2234.
All right, Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us this week.
Yeah, thanks, Stacy.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery, downtown Lloydminster.
We are here with multi-platinum selling Canadian singer-songwriter Forrest Black to talk about his latest release, A Long Story Short, and also about his upcoming tour with English singer-songwriter James Arthur. But first, Forrest, thank you so much for joining me today. How's it going? How's your week starting off?
Doing amazing. I'm a Canadian who's been around the world, lived in LA for a minute, had no snow, and then landed in Nashville and had, I feel like, my first Canadian winter experience. It only lasted 2 weeks long, but it was nice, a familiar feeling. So I'm elated. There was even like snow last night. We had snowflakes the size of hockey pucks, and I was like, wow. Felt like it was in an Edward Scissorhands movie watching it happen.
That is too good. Well, we are here to talk to you about a couple of things today, Forrest. We're here to talk about your latest release, A Long Story Short, and also about your upcoming tour with James Arthur. But first, let's get to know you a little bit better. I met you many, many years ago down in Alberta, but now you're down in Nashville, making waves down there. Tell us a bit more about yourself and your music.
Yeah, well, I'm from Montreal originally, but I moved to Alberta where like started my career. I had no clue that I was a musician. I had no clue I could make music. I had no clue this could be a living. I was just a kid with a guitar and a broken heart, and I found myself at a karaoke bar in Calgary because people had encouraged me to go play it, and I did. And it was the first time anyone ever like applauded for me, and I was like, wow, I'm obsessed with this feeling of affirmation. And I just continued, and it's brought me all around the world. I've been able to play music in countries all around the planet and live in Germany, LA, to now, and now be doing this as my life. It's been, yeah, nothing short, for me at least, than a miracle. It's been like, wow. I always tell people I couldn't sing to save my life, so I learned how to sing to save my life. And that's how I really felt. That was, yeah.
Well, you have a gorgeous voice, and your songs have been on TV, movies, and features of all sorts. So that is so exciting. And also, you're going to be heard all across the US and Canada because you're going on tour with English singer songwriter James Arthur this year. So tell us a bit more about how that came to be.
Yeah, I'm thrilled about that. I mean, I've toured relentlessly my whole career, so like to be going out and playing some of these iconic venues I've always looked to play, like the Wiltern in LA and whatnot. Yeah, I'm overjoyed. I think it's going to be I think the best pairing of musicians to be able to do this tour. And how it came about is I have a really good friend who is an incredible songwriter, and he was working with James Arthur in the UK, and my name popped up, and he was like, actually, I think you and Forrest would make like a really good touring like pair. And about a month earlier, I had commented on one of James's posts being like, I think like me and you on tour would be amazing. And all my fans started jumping on it. And so from there, he followed me, and then I followed him, and it was just how it goes sometimes, a twist of fate. So I'm excited though. I get to like play my hometown in Montreal. I get to play all across Canada and then play across the United States, of course. And so, yeah, it's going to be incredible.
That is going to be so exciting and so fun. I wish you the best time on that tour with James Arthur. Now, we're also here to talk about your latest release that came out this past Friday, Long Story Short. This song is personable, it's relatable, and it's become one of my new favorite love songs that everybody has to check out. So tell us a bit more about how this song came to be.
I think like most songs for me, I ended up in a room with a really close friend of mine and you start talking about what's going on in your life. And I was talking about my wife, I was talking about the experience of what it's like to go through all these feelings and you're trying to blurt it all out. And like for me, when I asked Huli out, I have a lot of words, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're such a wordsmith. You can do you can do so many things with the way you speak." And I'm like, "God, thank you so much." But the day I asked her out was just a mess. And then that's when I asked her to marry me. I was a mess. It's like she's the only person on the planet that takes all these words away from me, and I'm fumbling with them. And I feel like that's the whole premise of this song is that as you're trying to tell someone how you feel about them, you are a wreck. It is so chaotic and wonderful, and everything that gives you confidence is kind of not there in that moment. Like confidence walks you to the edge, but then love, I guess, has to carry you over it, and that's exactly how it's felt for me. And so writing that song was just that, was walking through all these experiences of like why I love you so much and trying to tell you, and but then like I'm fumbling and messing it up, and I say that in the song, I'm messing it up, but you know what I'm trying to do. Long story short, I love you. And like I get all like, yeah, I get all, it's crazy. I've been with her for over 4 years, and it's like I even like get emotional talking about it. It's so, yeah, yeah, it's special.
Well,
Yeah.
everybody needs to listen to that song if they haven't just yet. Long Story Short is available wherever you buy, download, or stream your songs right now. Forrest, thank you so much for chatting with me today. It was an absolute pleasure. Where can everybody find out more about you and get those tour dates for James Arthur?
Yeah, everybody can find me everywhere. Social media is everything's at Forest Black. And then for all of you who love these stories, there's tomorrow, Valentine's Day, there's a music video that comes out that I think people are going to fall in love with. So, yeah, find me everywhere. And another thing is I am a real person. I'm not just like this like artist that you can't connect to. And I have a phone number that I've given out to the world, and you can text me, and it's literally me. Nobody else does it. And that's 310-496-3464. And so you can text me from Canada, United States, and Mexico, and you'll get me on the other end of it being like, hey, what's up? So I'm very proud of it.
See, you are awesome with your fans. I love it. Thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Oh my gosh, it's my pleasure.
Well, love and mails in the air for Valentine's Day in the Colorado city of Loveland. Every year, people from around the world send their Valentines to the Sweetheart City to get a coveted Loveland postmark.
Well, we are the Sweetheart City, and we're known for love all around the world. We serve 110 different countries and 50 different states. So in a time when there's such uncertainty in the world, what greater thing to do than to share love and compassion?
The remailing tradition has been going on for nearly 80 years. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that is kind of cool. I like that, that they keep on doing that, especially for Valentine's Day. Send out a card to everyone. So no, I love that.
Pretty neat. All right, that's all we have for you tonight. Have a great Valentine's Day evening. Good night.